This is really, really bad. Hello, my name is Scott, and behind me is my new boat. New is not the right term to use because it's from 1986. And as with most of my projects, I like to buy things that I think will work and then they don't end up working right. And in the last video, we put in a good amount of effort, put in a new floor, ran all new electrical, got stuff mounted down, took it out for our first ocean journey, and things went really wrong. This motor basically just crapped out on us once we started going about probably a mile out, and we had to get towed in, which was not fun. So in today's video, what I want to do is I want to get this thing installed, which will allow us to add another little outboard on here as a little kicker motor for emergencies, but also for trolling, for fishing. And I also want to do a couple other things like redo the bottom of this floor because it didn't turn out really the way I wanted it to. And I'm gonna be adding some of this sea deck, which is kind of like a foam on top of that. So let's get started. In theory, this should not be very hard to install, but we have a big issue because we can't get to the back of the transom here. There's no access, it's in like a little enclosed space. So I'm gonna have to remove all the wood, which I kind of started doing, and it's been really difficult, and that's gonna take a long time. And then I have to somehow take off this part here. So drill out all these rivets, and this could be kind of a disaster. But once I kind of get an idea in my head, I just start to go with it. So let's see what happens. Got all the wood off, kind of messed it up a little bit, especially on this longer piece. Whatever, I might end up just replacing it or leaving it off for now. I'm focusing on this. The wood is kind of a aesthetic thing, not really that purposeful. So I'm gonna go ahead and start drilling out these rivets, which concerns me because this is kind of structural, I imagine, helping hold things together. So I was going to take off my mask after I was done cutting, but after seeing inside here, I think I might just leave it on for a second, since I forgot to issue a search warrant for this mouse here. Oof, a little scary. Oh my goodness, this is really bad. Okay, after contemplating a lot about this last night, trying to figure out if it's worth it to even do this, do I want to do it now and not be able to use my boat for a little bit? I was looking at it, and it honestly is just super rotten. And I mean, this is spongy here. Like, it's just not safe to go out in the ocean the way it is, I don't think. This boat's generally not safe to go out in the ocean in, but it's super unsafe with this transom. I'm worried, even though they have these big plates on here, that something could rip and we get a big leak, which would be really bad. So I am gonna go ahead and take off the motor, which entails taking off all this wiring, which I already started to do, taking off the throttle, taking off the steering, the fuel line, and then actually lifting it, building a little motor stand, putting it on that. And then we can start to take apart all this and try to figure out how to get the transom out of here. The throttle and the electrical stuff was super easy. It all just kind of unclipped or unplugged. No big deal, but this steering cable, I think I need to take off this panel in order to be able to pull it directly out. Got the foam out of here finally. You can tell it is also completely rotten on this side, so this was a good idea to pull this apart, even though it sucks to do. Okay, the outboard is now officially 100% disconnected. Wish I could do that with the whole back of the boat, but got this thing assembled, looking good. So now I'm just gonna bring it over here. I'm gonna hook it on to this hook point, and then I'll be able to start taking off these bolts. Looks like there's only 4 of them, so hopefully those don't give me too much of a hassle. It makes it feel better. This one's even a little longer. That's what roommates are for. All the bolts are out, so it's kind of the moment of truth. Here we go. It's off. Look at that. The plan today is get all this wood out of here, so I've just been shooting all of these bolts with PB Blaster multiple days in a row, and we're gonna try to wrench them loose. That took way too long. That was like 30 minutes of trying to get that off, but it's off now, and I'm glad I didn't break it. I have to get some new nuts. So next thing I'm gonna do is start unscrewing some of these guys that I was able to free up from the backside, and I'll have to get someone to help me hold the other side of the rest of them and unscrew those too. Transom is finally all the way out. I tried keeping it in order to just kind of trace it out instead of having to do a lot of measurements, but it just does not work out. When it kind of swelled up with water, it was really stuck in this bottom channel here. So I had to really just use the claw and the hammer just to pull it out pretty aggressively, but got it out. So now I'm gonna clean all this up, and then I'm gonna go buy some plywood. Okay, I got everything cleaned up. After looking at this a little bit more, this is all pretty corroded, and if I had $1 million, I would take off this back piece and replace it, or at least weld up where we have it burning through. Where's an example? Like right there. You can see it's just completely corroded through, and they filled it in. But I'm gonna go ahead and wash this all down at least with some vinegar and water, get off the corrosion that's on there, and then we'll paint it with some self-etching primer and some paint just to help prevent this from corroding anymore. I realized since I don't have the wood to temple it on, I can use this piece of aluminum that has the same shape. So I'm just gonna trace this out and then cut this out. And then we'll see what adjustments we have to do in order to make it fit right. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and use this to trace it out twice more, and then we'll glue 3 pieces together. Got this all clamped together here. We ended up with like 1.9 something inches, so super close to 2, with the 3/4 inch pieces on either side and the 1/2 inch in the middle. So last thing I'm gonna do for today, because sun's starting to go down, yes, I've worked on this all day long pretty much, is I'm gonna spray the back of the transom there with this self-etching primer. Got 2 coats on that, so we should be good to go. And tomorrow I'll put on some latex paint over this, and hopefully that will help stop the corrosion in the future. New day today, kind of a quick one, but I just went ahead and painted the back of the transom with some of this latex paint, and then I just finished sanding the transom here. I also did a little 15-degree cut on just the 2 tops there. I think you also can cut this if you want a little more adjustability with your trim, but I'm just gonna leave it flat. It's kind of easier, and I think it'll be just fine. So what I'm gonna do now is take some of this 2-part penetrating epoxy, mix it up, and then try to brush it on here. I know I'm not gonna be able to get all the way around it because it has to sit on something. I can't really hang it anywhere, but we'll start putting that on and see how it goes. It's a 2-to-1 mixture, so I'm gonna put 2 cups of part 1 in, and then 1 cup of part B, and then mix it in this little yogurt can here. Go. I don't want to leave that running because I don't have the hose on. I'm not sure if everything's 100% dialed, but got everything on the rear end here reconnected, at least on this right side. Got it all riveted back up. Was not easy. I'm leaving this side off for right now. Just going to add a little swim ladder in the next video. So this is not what I expected this video to be, and I'm not actually going to end up even putting the motor there. I'm gonna get a little electric one instead and put it right on here, because this is still not really meant to have a big motor hanging off of it with a lot of force. So thank you guys so much for watching today's episode. In the next one, I want to redo all the floors with that sea deck and add the swim ladder and a couple other things. Obviously tidy all this back up and get it out to sea. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.